And so this week's check-in begins. Candidly, it is week 8, day 1 that I'm filming this. But I told myself yesterday, I was like, I can just film my check-in tomorrow because I was kind of tired. Just jumping right into it, I was really tired because I feel like I just did 7 weeks worth of artist dates all in one week. Because the DC Independent Film Festival was this past week. Um, And honestly, me even getting a ticket to the film festival overall was like an example of synchronicity in my life. Just because like I had no idea about it. I didn't even know what the dates were. And obviously like ads can pop up based on like what you've been searching for and all that. And with me pursuing acting, I mean, the cookies on my phone could have known that like I was interested in film and whatnot. But I don't even remember how I found the film festival. I think it just popped up on TikTok or something like that, and I saw it was happening like I think that was like 3 weeks before the actual event. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So to me, that's an example of synchronicity. As Julia says, I shouldn't discount all of the examples that pop up that are a form of synchronicity. So I won't attribute it to cookies, but yeah, I went to the DC Film Festival. It was 5 days long from Wednesday to Sunday, and when I tell you I was so exhausted, like each after each day, because it was almost it's like you're being stimulated the entire time, and yeah, but overall, like I just saw some amazing work. By far, like the standout to me were the shorts. The shorts were just amazing. Like you could tell a lot of them were blessed to get funding because just the cinematography was amazing, the settings, the location, the actors were amazing as well, and it was just a really good source of inspiration and also like another goal to aspire to my acting coach actually also said this too, like there's no better feeling there yeah there's no better feeling than coming into a theater and like seeing your work on the big screen, seeing yourself in the film and hearing the audience's reaction to your performance. So it was just like another one of those reminders of something to aspire to and look forward to in my future. So yeah, it was just I definitely did my artist date for this week. If we want to classify artist dates as only being big things, but yeah, it was really good. Um, Overall, I think I started this week kind of discouraged. It's interesting. I feel like each week I kind of have like a small fraction of it being a little sad, just because I don't know. I feel like with acting, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before in some of my check-ins, but acting is like 90% of it is you just waiting. Like it's not like the other arts where you can like pick up the instrument and practice whenever you want or buy a new canvas and some new pastels and watercolors and start painting. It's like you really need to be in a setting. And obviously I can do self-tapes but like I also need somebody to read with me. So it's like it's a human like interactive person to person connection kind of art, which mainly is probably one of the reasons why I love it so much because I love people so much and I love interacting and learning about people's narratives and trying to relate. But it makes it really depressing when you don't have all the opportunities that you desire and like really want to do and participate in at your fingertips at all times 24/7 or 25/8. So yeah, started off the week a little sad, not only about that, but also I feel like this is a reoccurring thought, especially within this process, that I've just realized within myself that I hate being a beginner, like in anything within my entire life. Um, like I don't know. I guess I don't even know where it stems from. I maybe it's just like the expectation I've always put on myself and like outside forces I've always put on myself of like you need to do this well because you need to set the example or like you don't have a lot of time or like this is expected of you to be really good at this almost immediately. Um, so I started the week really. like upset about that because I had an improv class in the beginning of the week, and it just did not. I see, but this is me being hard on myself again. It wasn't like it was terrible. It's all a part of like training and processes, and I'm obviously still learning, but I wouldn't say it was even bad. I just got on myself about like the small minute details of like, oh, you negated in this part. Like you didn't do a yes and example. Instead, you just like slipped back into like what Taylor would have done instead of what the character would have done. And I was just like really down on myself about it. And I called a friend, and she really just poured into me, and like assured me of like she also feels the same way. Like it's hard for her to be a beginner. I think both of us classify ourselves as pretty hardworking people. So it kind of reminded me of another task. I think in like week 3 or maybe 2 or something, of like calling a friend or calling somebody that you know will pour into you. So that was really cool to see that, like, even though I'm on week 7 or was on week 7, that other tasks from previous weeks are kind of still resurfacing. And I'm like subconsciously also doing them. So it's kind of like proof that even when this process is done, I hope that these habits and tasks are still somewhat instilled in me. Um, but yeah, she just poured into me, and I just at the time couldn't really put it to words. Like the only thing that I really could conclude was like I just hate being a beginner, and I don't give myself the grace that I need to because I'm not used to doing so. And at that time too, I hadn't read week seven's chapter yet. So that I think the next day, actually, day 2, I read it that night, um, and finally got like put words to it, to what I was feeling. And yes, I it is a fact. I do hate being a beginner, but it's also like the fact that this week is talking about perfectionism is like that's exactly what I was experiencing. Because even like I said with the improv class, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just the fact that I was honing in and focusing on like this tiny parts that I felt like I could have done better. Therefore, I made the entire experience in my head bad. But it wasn't. It was improv class. Everybody enjoyed themselves. I enjoyed myself. I just expected myself to be perfect and perfection. And that's exactly what this chapter covers of like, it's a privilege even just to do the art in general. Um, and the fact that I can do it badly is like, at least I'm doing it. At least that's how a part of it was kind of translated in my head. But I highlighted some of the main aspects of this past chapter that really stuck out to me. The first one that's just here on the page is, so do it. This is a quote. So do it. If you win, you win, and if you lose, you win. It is always that way with taking risks. To put it differently, very often a risk is worth taking simply for the sake of taking it. Sorry, it's pretty late, so I'm like kind of slurring my words. I guess I'm tired still from the festival. Um, Continuing. There is something enlivening about expanding our self definition, and a risk does exactly that. So I mean, it was a risk even to keep shelling out acting class funds and really pursue this, even though a whole bunch of people in my life would look at my life and be like, what? This is so random. Um, but it's like a risk is a risk. Like, you win regardless. So it's at least good. Like, I don't want to regret not doing so in the future. So overall, it's good to take risks and continue on this process, even though I am so uncomfortable being a beginner. Another one that stuck out was, once we are willing to accept that anything worth doing might be even worth doing badly, our options widen. And that's exactly what I was kind of emphasizing earlier of, it's just worth doing in general. And it's almost a privilege to even be able to do it badly. Um, because you have that room to be able to fail. And I also saw some acting advice videos on Instagram the other day of like, that should be the goal, to always aim to fail. Like, take a take. Well, each one of your takes should be like, just go for it. And if you fail, I mean, There's no, like, as long as you're mimicking real life and you're not mimicking, but you're actually living in the moment and you're present and you're attentive, um, there's no way you can fail. Just go for it. It's like almost tricking the mind of like, just do it. And I mean, there's literally no mistakes are like the best thing that can happen. That goes into another quote that I kind of highlighted. The quote is, "Do not fear," Miles Davis told us. Oh, I said, "Do not fear." Wow, I'm tired. The quote says, "Do not fear mistakes." Miles Davis told us, "There are none." There are no mistakes. Aim for failure because mistakes do not exist. And I would be limiting myself if I keep putting filters on myself of, well, you have to do it perfectly and this is what I define as perfect, and it's because you're comparing yourself, or I'm comparing myself to like Academy Award winning Jennifer Lawrence, who I love so much and will hopefully meet one day. Not hopefully, will meet one day. And yeah, just allow myself to find my process and do it badly for as long as I can, and give myself the creative freedom to be able to find what my process is and how I work and just all that, because it's a privilege, as I said, just to be able to do it badly. Something else I highlighted was, we deny that in order to do something well, we must first be willing to do it badly. Once again, going back to the badly, like, in order to do something well, we have to be willing to just do it, and you can't expect yourself to be perfect at it within the first one or two or three tries of you doing it. Like all masters, someone just told me this, and I knew this even when I was trying to learn a new language, but it takes you 10,000 hours just to master something. Why would I expect myself to be an amazing award winning actress after a couple hours of practice, you know? So giving myself that freedom to be able to practice it and learn and give myself the grace and not beat myself up or be my worst critic. So yeah. So perfectionism was definitely weighing over me this past week. But I love how my body works, because once I realize what it is and I can put a name to what I'm experiencing, I'm so much more aware of it that it kind of helps me to like at least make small adjustments to it. So I was just really aware of like the ways that I beat myself up this past week, and was pretty quick to be like, "Oh no, it's okay. Like, you should be able to do this badly, or you should be able to just live freely within this acting class, or just live freely day to day of like interacting with people." Because perfectionism also kind of in my head goes hand in hand with like people pleasing in a way too, because you want to relate and you want to connect. But the reality of it is, one, you have to be your authentic self, and two, the people that are meant to be in your life and the ones that will truly understand you will gravitate towards you and be receptive of the way your authentic self is. And there's no way for you to like change or adjust yourself depending on the person that you're speaking to. It's just, you should just be and trust yourself and understand that you're human when interacting with anyone, and that God will take it from there and leave the people that you're supposed to interact with and connect with and build relationships with in your life. Obviously, still being a kind and like good person to everybody, but still like just be you. I feel like I'm going on a tangent or spiraling, but I'm not spiraling. See, look, just give yourself the grace. Just be you, and authenticity reigns. So that was kind of cheesy, but authenticity is a good thing. So just be yourself and don't be so hard on yourself. That's kind of a message for myself. Um, Outside of that, morning pages wise, I did 6 out of 7 days. Only reason I didn't do one of the days is because I think my body was just so tired from like running errands all day and then going to the film festival and all that and blah blah blah. And then the next day I had some meetings in the morning, so I just kind of like slept in and just kind of had to hop onto the computer really quick to hop on the meeting, rather than doing my morning pages before. I like to do my morning pages before touching any technology in the morning. So once I did that, and then the rest of my day kind of just spiraled, and then all of a sudden it was like midnight that night, and I was like, well, writing my morning pages right now, like in a couple hours, I'm just gonna wake up and write some more morning pages. So I might as well just wait until the morning. So that was kind of my logic with that. But 6 out of 7 days, the majority. Um, Outside of that, synchronicity wise, um, any other specific examples of synchronicity? Um, I'm sure there were a lot of examples. Like I had a really good dream today, but technically, maybe I'll go over that in my week 8 check-in, since technically it's week 8, day 1. Um, but yeah, it's just like more daydreams and visions of like a life that I know eventually I'll live, because God is literally, I feel like I'm aligned with everything that's going on, and just becoming so much more aware of like examples of synchronicity around my life, that I'm just like, these are promises that God is showing me, and that all I need to do is stay on track and stay the course and trust in Him. And although I don't know how it'll happen, or I don't know when or what, um, but just trusting that He has it in His hands and all things are working for my good, and that He is never going to lead me astray, and all I need to do is just continue and stay the course. Um, yeah, that was just, I think I kind of went off on a different route. Like I said, I'm really tired. Um, but yeah, synchronicity wise, the only thing that keeps popping up into my head is, it has nothing to do with like the arts. It kind of has to do with like creativity just within my everyday life. But I remember I continued cleaning out my room, which my room has really become a nice like safe haven now that everything's cleaned out, and like everything is, I can walk on the floor and like my clothes are in their drawers. I really needed a trash can in my room, and I don't know, I just have a whole bunch of stuff like kind of sprawled out all over the house. So I was just searching downstairs in the basement for something that I needed for an event that I'm going to this weekend. And literally, this was like 15 minutes after I was just in my room, and was like, oh, I need a trash can. Like maybe if I go to like some antique store soon or something, or like run across something or see something in a window, like I'll run in and grab and buy a trash can. And while I was searching for the thing that I needed this weekend, I was like, oh, and literally found a trash can. A trash can that I had from my old apartment while I was in Atlanta in college. So, really good sign and example of synchronicity of like, I needed a trash can, and boom, 15 minutes later, the trash can showed up. So, nothing to do with acting, but something to do with being aligned with what's going on around me. So, it's really good. It's really comforting. Um, Anything else? Were there other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Issues? I don't know. I'm not starting this week sad. That's good. It's a good sign. Um, yeah. I'm already at almost 20 minutes of recording, but I don't think there are any issues that I came across, which is really good. At first, I did have some anxiety while I was in the independent film festival, just because, like, I was also going alone. Um, and I was like anxious to go up and talk to people, because I don't necessarily, like, it's a film festival, and obviously filmmakers are there to share their work, and other filmmakers were also there. There were a whole bunch of like film majors who were in the city, like attending university and whatnot. Um, And I was just kind of there like, oh, I didn't go to film school. And um, I kind of just like hopped back into the acting game recently. So it was kind of intimidating at first. Like a part of me was telling me, like the comfortability part that wanted me to kind of stay put was telling me, it's okay, you don't have to go to the film festival, Jay, or like trying to make excuses for me not to go, just to like kind of comfort myself and self-soothe and like not put myself in potentially awkward situations. But I'm really proud of myself that I kind of pushed through that. Like especially Sunday, I did not. My plan was to stay here, like watch Love Jones, read chapter 8 of this book of week 8, and like reset for the week. But I'm really, really happy that I pushed through and was like, I feel like I would regret not going to the film festival and like staying home rather than at least just going and seeing what's out there and potentially running into people. Um, and yeah, I got to, although I didn't necessarily get to talk to a lot of filmmakers, I still have to get over that hump of like not being nervous to go up to people. I feel like I'll be more confident in doing so once I have like my acting reel together. I have my headshots, but I still got to meet a few filmmakers. Some of them actually came all the way from France. So I got to go up to them and talk about like my experience in France. Um, and then I met a few other people who were just attending the film festival, and yeah, just another. It was like another example of like, as long as I bring good energy to any space that I go into, like it's bound to happen that I'll meet somebody or connect with someone. So it was really nice to just at least push through that fear. And I told myself that's what all of 2026 is about, just pushing through the fear, running towards the things that make me anxious, and having the audacity. And that was an example of it for me, like a small win. So, yeah, that is my week 7 check in. And I'm excited for week 8, which is recovering a sense of strength. So maybe that's me finding the strength to go up to filmmakers and be like, please cast me in your movie. Or going up to casting directors. So, yeah. All right.